Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, Kim Seltzer, a dating and makeover expert, where I will help you build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. When a spouse or a partner dies, the idea of dating again may be a frightening and even daunting thing. And you've already given your whole heart to someone you love most in the world. So being with someone new or even opening your heart to such a possibility may seem almost unimaginable or even wrong. It is also common to feel that you've even lost a part of yourself when a partner dies, adding confusion to an already painful mix of emotions. Now, on top of it all, navigating the dating scene in the modern sense later in life just adds to the overwhelm and may even shut you down. Trying to find a balance with the emotional drainage of the other responsibilities of work, kids, of grandkids, all of that can be tough. And modern dating, let's face it, it has changed. It has really changed. I mean, gone are the days where we just used to knock on each other's doors and dial the phone to actually meet and talk to one another. And there's a huge learning curve with the understanding of technology, courtship and the length of courtship, new rules, what different people want out of different relationships. And the mindset of dating when you were younger was often to date to build a family, a future with, but later in life, it's more about partnership sometimes, even someone to travel with, to do fun things with. And that is why the new term, even situationship, came about. And finally, even knowing how to date if you have been in a relationship for a very long time, but never really dated just for the sake of dating without getting attached. And really, what you're doing is dating yourself, right? You're really getting to know yourself and this new journey that you are about to go on. And it's almost like being a kid in the candy store. I mean, if you've only had a Hershey bar, how do you know you don't like the gobstopper or the lollipop? Like, it is your turn to almost kind of taste all of it and see what you like this time around. And you may all, I mean, you want that, but you don't know where to go or how to be. And flirting, what is that, right? It's all new. I work with a lot of widows and widowers, and I just want to share this beautiful story that happened not too long ago. It was at one of my retreats, and she was a widow from Wisconsin. And it was this real rural part of Wisconsin, right? And she was probably the most unexpected person to find somebody to love again. She had a loving relationship with her belated husband, and she signed up for my program. And before we did the retreat, we were in these like virtual classes, and I was just teaching her to go online, to have the courage and confidence to just get out there and put herself out there. And in the middle of my program, I get a call from her. She's like, "Well, Kimmy, I have some good news and some bad news." I said, "What's that?" She's like, "Well, I'm not coming to your retreat. And it's for a very good reason." I'm like, "What's that?" And she said, "I think I found somebody." I said, "What?" I said, "First of all, not only are you coming to the retreat, but you are bringing him to the retreat to inspire others and deepen your relationship." So I had to do a lot of convincing of the guy to come because he thought it was like, to make her date other guys. I'm like, no, 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 no. It's just to like better yourself. So both of them came to the retreat. It deepened their relationship. In fact, he had huge breakthroughs. And I'm happy to say they just got married and sent me their photos. And it's so beautiful. And, there's so many inspiring kind of stories like that. There was another widow who I worked with who just really wanted to get her mojo back. She's like, "Kimmy, is it okay if I just want to have sex?" I'm like, "Not only is it okay, I think it's kind of your rites of passage at this point." And so we helped her do that without fear, without guilt. And, it really depends on what it is that you want. But so often you don't know what that is when you're getting back out there. So at some point, you may feel ready to move forward in your life. And if that's you, it might mean just learning how to date and find love again. And with me today is an incredible woman who I recently met during a divine appointment, as she put it, at an event. And she is going to help me talk about some of the challenges of dating after loss later in life, along with her incredible journey and love story. She began her career in television at the age of 16 as an intern for her local TV station in Michigan. She is now a television host, best-selling author, comedian, beauty, fashion, and lifestyle expert, and so much more. I can't wait to introduce you to her. She is also a coveted contributor to a number of magazines around the country. Viewers have tuned in to see her sharing all of her latest tips on Hallmark Channel's Emmy-nominated talk and lifestyle show, Home and Family. In addition, for the past 14 years, she has been delighting viewers with her antics on the Ellen DeGeneres show. She is hilarious, y'all. You have to go check her out. And her unique improv background from Second City, she is such a sister. We both have Second City backgrounds, which was also something we bonded with, and sketch comedy ability paired with her comedic timing and useful information make her one of a kind infotainment entertainer. It's like a tongue tie. She has been labeled cross between, I love this because this is so true by you, by the way, Goldie Hawn and Lucille Ball. That is a great description. She is also one of E! Entertainment's first gossip reporters and was a regular on Soap Talk. And it was her first book, The Black Book of Hollywood Beauty Secrets, that was responsible for her intro to Ellen. And she's also the host of several running infomercials. I could go on and on about her. And beautifully, she met her husband, Jerry Douglas, who played John Abbott in The Young and the Restless. And she has a beautiful story to tell about that. And now she's on the Charisma Quotient. Welcome, Kym Douglas. Are you there?
Wow, that was such a great interview. I mean, long intro. Thank you. Wow.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. Well, I wanted to really set the tone for this conversation. I it was so like it was a divine appointment when we met at that event. It was like we were glued, from the
Yeah.
hip and the start. And I love your journey and your story. And I know obviously I read your bio, but I would love for you to share more of it. Beginning with just like your career and moving into your love story.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned so beautifully, I did start in my journalism and news career as an intern at 16 at my local news station in Detroit, Michigan. And that just kind of ignited the spark for me to go into news and journalism. I went on to college, and then every summer I came back and I worked at my local news station, and that just enabled me to meet the news director and be around all the reporters. And so when I graduated college, I went right back there and I said, look, I've been here since I was 16 and I got my degree and I have my tape. Can I start working? And of course, they said, you can't, you haven't done anything, but we can put you on as per diem in case somebody gets sick or has to go out on maternity leave. And as it would happen, like with us divine appointment, shortly after, one of the nighttime reporters, a female, wanted to leave for pregnancy leave. And so I slid in there and I became a reporter at 21 at the seventh largest market in the nation, which was really quite an accomplishment. And then from there, I was a reporter at WJBK in Detroit, and then I wanted to anchor. So after I got my feet wet as a reporter, I went to Upper Peninsula, and you're from Chicago. We always put the mitten up for Michigan, and the Upper Peninsula is up here. There's hardly any people up there. But I got an anchoring job up there at WLUC in Marquette, and I was anchoring also at 21 years of age, doing the 6 and 11 o'clock news. So that was really great. And it was a great way to usher me into the world of journalism and news. And I had a great time. And to be really honest, Kimmy, it got a little bit heavy when the news, especially, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to turn off my phone. So that's the
No,
news calling me. The news never sleeps.
I
Um,
know.
right? I was doing a lot of stories that had to do with Detroit and Chicago, and it was really, in essence, sounds so crass, but it was murders, rapes, and fires. That was all the news was. And, it's kind of hard. You start to take that home, you start to internalize it. It was really heavy duty stuff. So when I had the opportunity by the news director to interview an actor from The Young and the Restless named Jerry Douglas, I took the opportunity and I interviewed him, and we had a great interview. It was really fun. We were laughing. We were, having a great time, and we connected. And the next day, he left the next morning to go to Canada because that was pretty close to Michigan and Upper Peninsula. And when he left, he had sent over 300 long-stemmed red roses to the local small news station. And believe me, it was like the studios or news stations in LA had a little door, like a really little front door, and the flowers couldn't even get through the front door. So it was very romantic and very soap opera romance. And we had a long distance romance for like 6 months. And then my contract came up and he said, why don't you come out to LA and see if you can get some news jobs in LA? So I came out to LA with my girlfriend, Perry, and I was out here. And 6 months later, we were engaged and then we were married. And we were married for 37 years. And my husband just passed away 3 years ago. And it's a very different journey, as you mentioned, to navigate being a widow in Los Angeles and over 50 and hadn't dated in 40 years. So it's really a whole new adventure.
Ah, thank you for sharing that. I wondered before you had met Jerry, did you have much like dating experience? Like just in the ways of like dating
I did.
lightly.
I did. Obviously, I mean, this is ridiculous, but all through high school, I was a serial dater. I
Yeah.
went out with every, guy in high school. I was pretty popular. I was, in all the after school activities and stuff. And then all through college, I dated very heavily. I was engaged to one guy. I was dating another guy. I was, so yeah, I was really active and I've always been a very outgoing personality. And I always loved men. I love the company of men. And so, yeah, I had a very robust, I will say, dating life. But how much do you do before 21,
I was
22?
just gonna say that, right? Like it
Yeah,
was
I mean,
totally different.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was 22 when I met him. So
Yeah.
it was pretty youthful dating.
Well, not only that, you were different, right? Like we're all
Yeah.
so different when we're in our 20s. And, like with each decade, I always feel like we
Yeah.
gain knowledge, we change kind of some of the stuff that we're wanting in life and that kind of thing. So here you are now. And are you feeling ready? We were talking off air a little bit
Yeah.
about getting out there.
Yeah, I think again, not to keep repeating this, but I do think we had divine timing, Kimmy, because I really wasn't ready prior to this. When you have a really great long-term, wonderful marriage, I'm not trying to say it was perfect and he was perfect but we had a really, really good, loving marriage. And he was very kind and very romantic and put me on a pedestal and it stayed that way for 37 years. So it was a great loss. And I just felt like I went through two stages where I felt like maybe I don't deserve a second love. Like maybe God only doles out one great love. And many of my girlfriends and friends said, no, you can't think that way. We all deserve love and we deserve it as often as it comes our way, And so I changed that view. And then the second view was maybe I'll never find anybody like Jerry. And another thing that girlfriends and therapists and people in the know told me is no, I won't. And that's okay. Because, like you said so eloquently, when I was 22, I was in a different place in my life. And I kind of grew up with Jerry, and he was a lot older than I was. And now I feel I'm ready for somebody my exact age, or maybe dare I say younger, that, I'm at a different level right now. And then when we met, it was 3 years. And I felt like, gosh, you know what? I've honored his memory. I've honored my son and his relationship with his father. And now I've been respectful, and maybe it's okay to start looking around. So I found you.
And oh my God, well, and yeah, sometimes you get signs, right? Like from the universe, and you might see it, but then you don't really see it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean by that? Because you're not ready to see it. And I think it was just the fact that we were talking about it. Maybe it started getting you
Yes.
excited. And I'm excited about that for you. And I what when you think about maybe just getting out there, what are some of the things that maybe you're finding challenging for you, at least for you? You know, obviously it's different for everyone.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and I wonder if any of your other listeners or watchers feel this. So I'm in a really great place in my life. I have a lot of friends. I have
Mhm.
named off all the things I'm doing. I'm very active still. I'm on different news shows and I have women's groups and stuff that I head up. And so I have a really full, exciting life, right? So here's the thing. The first couple of times that men had reached out to me, I hate to say this, and I don't want to sound at all judgy or not being gracious, but I was bored. I was like on the
Uh,
phone and like, oh yeah, Fred, uh-huh. Oh, that baseball game. Yeah. Yeah, that was, oh, I'm so glad. And I was like, oh my gosh, when can I get off this phone and go watch The Real Housewives? And I'm kidding, but I mean, I want to do something that I want to do. And so I think I'm a little afraid of boring. I don't
mhm.
with somebody boring. But probably, Kimmy, you could advise me that if there's a chemistry, there isn't a boring. If you do
Right.
connect, you probably are like, oh, like you and I, when we met, I was like, what do you do? Oh my gosh, you do that? Oh, that's so, and we were engaged and it was so fun. But so far, the ones that at least I've talked to on the phone, I was like, wah, wah. So I'm afraid of boring. And
Mhm.
then I'm afraid of two other things that I want to run by you. One is I got on the phone with somebody and immediately they started talking about their two or possibly three, I can't remember, ex-wives that were such bitches and
Oh,
just wanted their money and were so, and I was like, oh, if he's going to talk about three women like that, I wonder if he's going to talk about me like that. And he's had a very negative experience with women in marriage, and I haven't. So that was my second fear. And my third one is I don't want to be or give time to somebody that isn't going to be my North Star. I
mm.
want someone who I can, look to for help and guidance along the way and that has great morals and values and that we are really compatible and aligned.
Those are actually such common things. And you and I have talked about this off air, but just like how different it is to date when you've lost somebody through death than a divorce. And they're both losses, but there's different anger, there's different grieving processes that go, that people go through. And um, well, let's tackle those, those three things, because I think, yeah, so many people can relate to it, by the way, and actually all three I think people can relate to no matter what they've been through. Like the boredom thing, I've heard so many times. So um maybe it would help to also get more information like how you've met these guys so far too.
Okay, one was through an acquaintance. So she wasn't a friend. She was just an acquaintance, like,
Okay.
oh, I know a guy, and she didn't know me and she didn't know him, but she didn't know me very well. So that was the one. The second one was through another. Now I'm thinking about it. Wow, you brought out something. Another acquaintance didn't really know me that well and said along the lines like, this probably isn't somebody that you're gonna, but he could be a good friend. And he wanted a lot more after two phone calls. He wanted to whisk me off to Palm Beach somewhere. And I was like, I
Oh my
barely talked to
gosh.
you on the phone. I'm not jumping on your plane and going. And then the third one was through a friend's husband. So you're very right. You just made me think none of them knew me very well.
Got it. Okay. And I know it's been a while since you and I talked. Have you done anything in ways of just meeting guys yourself rather than relying on other people?
No, no. And
Okay.
I'm petrified, Kimmy, petrified of online dating. I mean, I'm just
Okay.
like, oh my, what if I get a mass murderer or what if,
Okay.
I mean, and of course
Right.
I'm kidding, but being in the news business, I hear all these
Yes.
horror stories and it's like, and also not that I'm, famous in any way, but I've been on television for most of my life. So I don't want to get somebody that is like, oh, I know her from, let me go out with her, not because of anything about me, but just because of recognition.
Yes, yes. You want someone to like you for you, not
Yeah.
just who you are. And that's such a common thing. And okay, so for those reasons, online scares you, which scares a lot of people. And then what about flirting? What about you? Because obviously, like you just said, you have this rich life for all these like social events, and like, do you put yourself out there in that way?
Okay, that's a really good question. So, what I've kind of done, and I wonder if this is subconscious, again, so good to talk to you, or if it's consciously, but I have surrounded myself in great women's groups. So, I'm with Visionary Women, I'm with the
Right.
Malibu Women's Prayer Group, I'm with a Women's Fashion Council, I'm with a garden club, you name, I'm with a breast cancer. You know, charity. So I'm having so much fun and I'm doing all these things. But now that I think about it, it's all women. It's all women.
Yeah, you're not going to meet many men there.
No, unless I'm going to change my sexual preference. I don't think I'm
Well,
going to
right.
change.
And that would be a different podcast
Yeah,
altogether.
exactly.
But I always tell people like it's like yeah like I joke about this all the time. You're probably not going to meet a lot of guys going to like a sewing circle or like so like now let's
Oh,
talk about Home Depot, different
yeah.
story, right?
Oh,
Like I mean, I saw you on the Ellen show. Like, you could play with tools. Like, there's a lot of things you could do and
yeah.
props that are all around you, whether you're in the grocery store and you're so personable and you're so much fun. I can only imagine if you start being intentional in that way, who you can meet. And then on top of it, really like thinking about using these groups even that you have, and I know that they're
Mhm.
women, but everybody knows somebody, and could you put together other groups with some people but make it more for like singles or focused, something like that. Like there's ways of being strategic. That's why I like call myself more of a strategist than anything these days, because it does,
Yeah.
it like takes strategy for some of this stuff. I mean, we're not in our 20s anymore with prom around us and high school and all that. So I think before kind of going over your challenges, I think you have to really think about what you've been trying so far, even just to meet people in general.
Yeah. Zero.
Zero. Okay.
You're really right.
Yeah. And I think I talked to you about this, and I say this a lot, is that it's almost like your financial portfolio, right? Like you have to diversify as much as possible on your dating portfolio in order to get results. And it really is like a numbers game. And once you start being intentional and start thinking about different ways, then you can worry about all these three things that you're worried about. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're not there yet. Like you don't
Mm-mm.
have to worry about those things. Like that's all like outcome based worries. And dating is just about having fun, and even, flirting is to be intentional and really put yourself in a position where you're acting as if you are attracted to that person, but no serious intention of an outcome. And I think like Kim, you and I talked a little, so but I just want to highlight it for this is you can get just it's getting back to who you are, really. The core of who you are.
Yeah, yeah. It's been so long. And, when I was younger, you're just always in environments where college or seeking out jobs or whatever. And so you're constantly, even an acting class that I took, so
Yeah.
I be knowledgeable when I interviewed actors when I came out here to LA. You're just constantly around available men your age. And then when you're my age and you're in this situation, you're right. I'm just hardly ever around them, and I don't really. And I remember when I was younger, I was flirty. I was definitely flirty, but they usually came to me, and not trying to make it sound like, oh, I was so fab. I just was around so many people
Yes.
that it was easy. So for me, here's a really funny thing, Kimmy, and I love for you to help me with this. and I bet your listeners and watchers will not believe this, but it's true. So you put me out in front of an Ellen audience, live audience, no
Yeah.
rehearsal, live to tape. You don't get a second take. You go out there, and if you trip, you trip. If you, I can't, it come, that's it, you're on.
Yeah.
So 380 people, and then Hallmark Channel, we had a couple hundred, and Second City, you're out without a net, all of that. Do not even get this much scared. Ready, let's go. I'm on, I'm there, it's great. Tell me to go one-on-one with a guy. This is what I do. A man will walk in and I'll think he's attractive and I'll see him over there. This is what I do, Kimmy.
Ah.
Who am I? Like,
And for
who?
those of you listening and not
Oh,
watching,
sorry.
she
Yeah,
just turned away. She
in a
just
corner.
literally turned
Yeah.
away.
And walked in a corner. I mean, I
Yeah.
am not a wallflower, but I'm a total wallflower. Like, what
Wow.
are you doing? Who is she? What is that?
Okay, so first of all, I love that you were really open and honest about this because I would say 95% of the people that I talk to say the same thing. And
Really?
and that, I think this will give a lot of people hope knowing that they're not, weird or too shy or introvert. Here you are, Kym Douglas. I mean, if those of you who know her just watching this on YouTube, mean, you're stunning, you're gorgeous. People are probably shocked, dazed, and amazed to hear what you just said, but it just shows you how fear gets in the way, how fear can be our love shield. And it's not until we take off the shield is when we're really open to finding the love. So um
That's
it's
so scary to
it's
me.
so scary.
I'm
Okay, so
healed up. Let me just keep that right there.
okay, wait, I have so many things to say, but first a couple questions. So what in that moment in your head, what are you saying to yourself? Like what are you fearing?
Okay, I'm fearing, oh, and I'm going to be totally honest with you, and this is scary. I'm not pretty enough. Does he know how old I am? Um, he probably has a bunch of other girls that are in this room that are looking at him and want him. And is he going to reject me? All
Wow.
that. Oh yeah, all that is playing tape again, and it just is a tape.
Well, and it it is such a common thing to think that, and it again, it doesn't matter what age you are, how pretty, how tall, what size you are. If you're constantly like comparing yourself to others and worried about what's next or what other people think, it brings you out of the present too. So that you're not like in that moment to really just be playful and having fun. What's so interesting is that you know how to do that when you're on the Ellen show and on stage.
Right.
But I have a hypothesis about that because I mean, growing up in theater as well, I saw this is that when you have a role and a script and a purpose,
Totally.
it makes it easier, right? But when it's just you in the wild. There's no role, right? So it's
Right.
like, yeah, and
LA is the wild, wild
oh
west.
my God, totally. And then on top of it, we're in LA,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so I think that it is all in your head. And what if you just walked around acting as if you were on stage, like until it became
Real.
like act as if until you become, right? Like that
Oh,
saying is so
yeah,
true, especially for actors. And that's why you and I both work with fashion, right? Like we're both into, so I always say, like, look the part, put your costume on,
right.
then you can embody that. But be the flirty girl on the Ellen show in your head in real life.
Wow. No, you're so right. Because when I get to that studio, I know my purpose is to make these people laugh. And I have in my head, who knows what they've been dealing with, a loss, a job loss, a family member, a divorce, whatever it is. We are there for 1 hour to make that audience laugh. And that's my purpose. That's what Ellen does. That's what I know. We never rehearse. Ellen, in 17 years, never rehearsed with me one time, and we always were on it, and the chemistry, but the purpose, Kimmy, was to serve others, to make them laugh and smile for 1 hour and forget politics and health issues and money issues. But when I go and meet a guy, it's like, oh my God, I'm always you hit the nail on the head. You're so good. You're literally blowing my mind because the first thing I do is compare myself. Oh, I don't look like Janie or Sally or Kimmy over there. Oh my gosh, she's taller, she's thinner, she's younger. And I'm constantly comparing and just thinking of all of the things that maybe I lack.
And what if you did that on the Ellen show? You would have
Oh,
froze. You would have, right? Like you
um,
wouldn't be asked back. You would have been just sitting there staring at the red dot like in the Brady Bunch, like just not
yeah,
right, nothing happening.
you're so right.
And so I love what you just said. And just this is almost like a honing device for you. What if you went out into the wild, into the world, and just said to yourself, my purpose is to just make you laugh and connect? What if you
Wow.
just stopped there?
Just that and not anything else, right?
No, because everything else will happen after that,
Yeah.
right? And so if you're just really present with it, then you don't have to worry about being bored or if there is a weirdo and the North Star and all of these things that you're
Yeah.
firing, because that's way in the future. Like you're not even there yet.
No, no. That's so interesting to just have like the one step. I'm always going eight other steps, and he has to be, a leader and a guide and a blah and a blah. And I think that's because fortunately or unfortunately, and I'm always grateful for this, but it it wasn't hard for at 22. I interviewed him. We had a great interview, and then boom, it was the right connection. He was the right guy. He was a good guy, and so I didn't have to really work at or navigate a dating relationship. It was just like right there.
Well, and also Kim, like, and this is also common too when you've achieved a lot, like you're a high achiever, right? And you've been successful in almost everything that you've done from the time you were 16 up until now, even getting it right with landing Jerry. And I'm wondering if there's almost subconscious fear of failure or not getting it right.
You, you are, I literally have goosebumps. Kimmy, I hope your listeners know how good you are because we're not, we don't really know each other and we never had any therapy sessions or anything. But you're right. I really do have a great fear of failure. I do. It was like,
Mm.
I don't want to ruin this winning streak that I had. So why try? I'll just, if I just back off, I got this other streak that has all this list. So I don't need to fear failure and go through that and be like, oh, she did all of this, but oh, look at this. She really didn't do very great here or there.
Yeah. Well, it's like the perfectionistic, paralyzed thing that happens to so many people. And think about it too, like we all default back to what we're confident in and what we know. And what you know is exactly what you've been doing and healing throughout the last
Right.
3 years. Scary, this other stuff. Like it's unknown territory. And so
Right.
that's real.
It really is. I love what you said, and I just wrote it down. Paralyzed by perfection. And I really do think that. And it kind of, again, not to have your listeners have to go back into, my entire, but my mother was a Miss Scotland 150 years ago. And she never really got to, it was my mom passed away, God rest her soul, and she was 98
Mm.
uh, a year ago. So think of 100, literally 100 years ago. It was very different. And she never could achieve what she had hoped she could after getting this title or whatever. And so she was got this title, married my dad. My dad was a carpenter. They moved to Detroit, and she became a very honorable and such a great position and thing to do. She became a mother and a wife, and she was great at it. And I think that's the highest calling. I really do. But for my mother, I think she would have liked to have achieved some other things on her own, and she didn't. Therefore, she had an only child. It was me. And so everything she didn't achieve, she wanted me to do. So I think there was that. performance, perfection. In order to keep mom's love, I had to be her and me and achieve all, and maybe that still rears its head all those years later.
I think you just totally nailed it for yourself. It all stems from our upbringing. Sometimes we think it's just attached to like our last relationship or
Yeah,
something that just happened. It goes back to so far, and also just what we got used to. That's why I call it a habit. We just get into habits from our upbringing, and like with what you just shared, that's super powerful because there's might be this subconscious thing of you not wanting to let mom down.
for sure. And then if I
Make
let
her
her
proud,
be,
you
I
know?
wouldn't be loved by her.
Yeah.
So it was, such an attachment there.
Right. Well, and look at that for yourself. When love by a parent is equated by that perfection and achievement, and now you're looking for love,
Yeah.
right? Like just those two things. And that could be also, look, I mean, it's easy to say, oh, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. But there's also these things that are just dangling. And what I'm saying is I don't think you have to put so much pressure on yourself.
Mhm.
Right? Like you don't have to find the one, the
Right.
almighty,
Right.
like I think you're going from A to Z already. I'm like, oh my
Right.
gosh, Kym, let's just go flirt together for God's
Yeah,
sakes. In Brentwood, like like let's just do
exactly.
that. Like, you
Well,
know?
that's so great. Takes a lot of the pressure off. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and the thing that's so beautiful about you is that she's still in there. I mean, I work with some people who never had that, who never felt that, social person or being. I mean, you have it. It's just been a really long time and you haven't had to like work at it,
No.
right? Like it's like just turning on the switch again and
Yeah.
and being okay with just the unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah. Scary but fun. Scary but fun, Interesting. Wow.
Well, good. Okay, so I have some homework. I always like
Okay.
to,
Give
leave
me,
people with homework and
yeah,
like, takeaways. And
right.
yeah, like number one, I would just work on your dating portfolio, and
What does that mean?
meaning like how I was saying your financial portfolio. I need you to diversify what you're doing, not just rely on other people to set you up. Because think
Okay.
about it too, like you're taking away your own power with that. Like you're leaving the power into other people's hands and they're not working out. And so now you're hypothesizing, oh, well, dating sucks or it's hard or whatever. So you know what you can attract. History already has said that. So
Mhm.
it's just literally turning her on again to see the possibilities that are out there. And so, doing things like you said you have a lot of friends, like just going out and having fun, first of all. I'd love to go out with you at some point.
Oh,
We can do
yeah,
that too. Like,
well, and you know what? The good news is if we meet a guy, he'll never forget our names because it's Kim and Kimmy.
I
So,
know
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So if he has
Kim,
a
Kim
bad memory,
squared. Kim
yeah,
squared.
exactly. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, and we're both blonde. Oh my God. I
Yeah.
think we would
Oh,
tear up the town, first of all. So LA, watch out if you're around. Um, and the other thing is that start thinking of creative ways that you can put yourself out there other than just women's groups. Like, are there other social events that you can go to? I'm
yeah.
sure you get invited all the
Yeah.
time
All those
to
galas
parties
and
and
yeah.
again, what I want you to do is do this as an experiment without worrying about if you're attracted to that person, if they're boring, if they're a serial killer, or or the North Star. Like you have to get rid of those three things. Just
Okay,
all
that's
I
so
right,
thank
like all I want you to do is just go to a party and flirt as if you are attracted to everyone in the room, and that is your purpose. Okay, so
okay.
I'm going to be your director, and like on the Ellen show, I'm just going to tell you in life, all I want you to do is your purpose for an hour at a party is to flirt and have fun with everyone. Period. That's it. Connect. Just connect.
That sounds so easy, right? But why haven't I done that? But how great. Flirt and connect. And that's my purpose.
That's
Okay.
it. And it gives you joy. You already said it gives you joy to
Yeah,
to
so
bring
fun.
people joy, right? Like so if just apply that to real life because you never know from there who you might meet. But don't think of it, oh, this is my next boyfriend or husband or North
Yeah.
Star. Just like literally just, have fun.
Yeah.
And I would say the other thing is, put it on the calendar. I think that a lot of times we have good intentions, like, we all do this. We try to make plans with one another and things happen. I mean, life gets busy,
Yeah.
but I would put it as a priority, like almost as important as going on the news tomorrow. Like it is that important, and put it on the calendar. Like every Wednesday, I'm going to go out to happy hour with a girlfriend at 5 p.m. Like it's like going to the gym, right? The more you do it, you're building that muscle, and all that fear will eventually go down as you do it in repetition.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And that's so workable. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I got really cozy in my routine of like, I'll go do my errands, my workout, my work, my emails, whatever, my news stuff. And then I'm going to come home at 5 o'clock. I'm going to have my glass of wine or my tea or whatever. And then I can make a dinner or order in and then sit and watch my favorite shows, get cozy, get comfortable. And you know what? It got really comfortable. It really did. But you're not going to meet Kym. I'm talking to myself. You're not going to meet anybody sitting on the couch with a cup of tea from 6 in the evening till midnight. You know,
No, but you could go to Earth Cafe and have a cup of tea.
that's,
And now you're surrounding yourself. You can take what you already enjoy, but
yeah.
make it more social. But you're so right. And I say this all the time, and you're kind of saying it. Like no one changes in a state of comfort. We only shift and move and
Yes.
change when we're uncomfortable. You know this in improv. Like it's taking those risks when you are like, okay, I'm gonna have, Ellen put avocado on my face,
Right.
like, and just when you
I
take
didn't
those,
even know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like such a fun moment. And it's those risks that often create the opportunity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and this, and so yeah, I I love this so much. Oh my gosh, Kym, I could go on and on, but I
Dude.
hopefully like this was helpful and just like
Yes, you're so
lifting.
helpful. And you really hit so many things on the nose, Kimmy. And you also took me to a place where I didn't I didn't think about the stuff with my mom or just I had talked to you about, I don't understand the stuff with how I can perform and not get nervous, but, see a cute guy across the room and almost want to crawl in a hole. So we did talk about that. And it really does help. You're very good at what you do. And I thank you so much for helping walk me through it.
Oh, Kym, it's my pleasure. And I'm just so happy we met. And I'm excited to see like the real life Golden Bachelor
I
and
know,
go
right?
into life and meet
Yeah.
somebody. Is there any kind of parting words of wisdom that you wanted to share? And also tell everyone where they can find you too.
Yeah. So love to have everybody follow me at Kym Kym Douglas on Instagram and on Facebook. And I'm in the process of actually writing a book about it's about Kimmy having this charmed life at the beginning and then going through all this loss, breast cancer, losing my husband, Ellen show going under, Hallmark going under, my only child moving to New York. So all these losses at one time, and how you kind of go from here down to there and then back up again, and how we all go through different losses in our life and how to keep on going. So if I'm going to be preaching that to people, I better start practicing it myself in the dating realm. So I want y'all to look for that book. But I guess just any words of wisdom is just that, life really is a journey, and that being over 50 is a wonderful place to be. I love being over 50. I love being at this stage in my life where you do start to feel like, you've been a caregiver or taken care of or organized everybody else in your life for so long. And how fun to kind of put that energy back into yourself and find out what you really want. So I'm on the lookout now.
That's beautiful. Oh, Kym, thank you so much. And definitely we'll have you back on at some point and see how you're doing.
Yeah, I'll have a lot to report next time. I sure hope so. And let's go out for that drink at Baltair or whatever really
Oh my
soon.
God. No, we're doing that. And then maybe we'll film a little bit. So for those of you
You
listening, you'll definitely have to follow us
know,
and see.
it will be a comedy for sure. I'll
Uh,
be in the corner and Kimmy will be like dragging me out of the corner.
don't worry. I'm not going to like hide in a bush and give you an earpiece, tell you what to
Ah,
say. Like I will be with you 100% of the time. We're just two girlfriends out in the town having fun as I always do.
love that.
All right. Thanks,
Well, thank you
Kim.
so much. Bye bye, darling.
Bye, and thanks for joining me today. This has been the Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, of course, Kimmy Seltzer. And remember, you can build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. And make sure you go to my site, kimmyseltzer.com. And if you struggle to put yourself out there, of course, as always, book a call with me by clicking the link you see here in the show notes. But I also have something really cool coming up that I wanted to announce right now. And it's perfect timing as we're talking about dating. It's something new that I'm kicking off if you want to learn how to date and flirt. For the first time ever, I'm doing a special hybrid virtual speed dating event for the holidays. And this is where you're going to learn key points of making incredible first impressions and a chance to meet singles handpicked for you. And for the speed dating rounds, I'm going to hand select people that you can go on dates with, and you'll get direct feedback. So if you feel completely out of practice with flirting and dating and you don't know how, you're not sure why you're not progressing on dates, or you struggle to put yourself out there and have engaging conversation on dates, all while meeting other singles in a fun setting, then definitely sign up. It's happening December 11th, but you have to register soon because these seats are limited and they're going to sell out. I for sure will tell you that right now. And I only have a certain amount of spots because, as you can imagine, I have to match y'all. So just go to stophatingdating.com. That's stophatingdating.com and sign up. And I hope to see you there. And remember, working on you is working on your dating life. That's all for now.